Good morning, students. How are you all? It's 6th of April, and today we are going to continue our lesson number 3 of chapter number 8. I want you all to open page number 450, 450. On this page, we have a topic: what are asteroids, comets, and meteors? Different types of small objects are present in space. These objects include comets, asteroids, and meteors. Now we will discuss all three of them. The first one, comets. Now what is a comet? A comet is a mixture of frozen gases, ice, dust, and rocks that moves in an elliptical orbit around the sun. Now comet is a mixture. It's a mixture of frozen gases, ice, dust, and rock. And where are they? They move in an elliptical orbit around the sun. They move in an orbit, the orbit is elliptical, and they move around the sun. Comets are thought to be bits of material left over from the formation of the solar system about 4.6 billion years ago. Now it is said about the comets that these are very tiny pieces of some material. These are very tiny pieces of some material. Which material? It's the leftover material. It's the material from which the solar system was made. It is the material left over from the formation of solar system. And when did it happen? It happened about 4.6 billion years ago. What are comets? Comets are thought to be, they are tiny, very small pieces of material. Which material? From which the solar system was made about 4.6 billion years ago. Now, when a comet is farther away from the sun, the gases and ice in the comet are frozen. When the comet is away from the sun, so the gases and the ice in the comet, they are frozen. As the comet moves towards the sun, the core or nucleus is the central part of something. As the comet moves towards the sun, the core or nucleus of the comet warms up. When the comet moves near the sun, the nucleus or the core of the comet, it warms up. Some of the ice and the dust in the core form a cloud or coma around the nucleus. Now when it warms, so some of its ice or some of its dust, they form a cloud, or they call it coma. They form a cloud or coma around the nucleus. Together the nucleus and the coma make up the head of the comet. Now the nucleus and the coma, together they make up the head of the comet. At the down of the page, you have a picture of the comet. This is the comet. Comets have tails of ice and gases. They call this tails. And this tail is made from ice or gases. Now as we move on the second column, as the comet gets closer to the sun, heat from the sun pushes some of the coma away from the comet. Now when the comet moves close to the sun, so the rays from the sun, the heat from the sun, it pushes away. It pushes some of the coma away from the comet. This material forms a glowing tail that may stretch millions of kilometers behind the head. Now when this happens, it forms a glowing tail. As we can see over here, this is the glowing tail. So when this happens, it forms a glowing tail, and that glowing tail stretches millions of kilometers behind the head. Sometimes two tails will form. Sometimes one, sometimes two. One tail is made of ice and one tail is made of gases. Okay. Heat energy moves out from the sun in every direction. Okay, this we know that the heat energy comes out from every direction from the sun. As a comet moves around the sun, the head stays closest to the sun and the tail trails out behind it. Means when the comet is near the sun, it moves around the sun. What happens? The head of the comet, it stays closest to the sun, but the tail, it moves away from the sun. That and the tail trails out behind it. No matter where the comet is in its path around the sun, the comet's tails always point away from the sun. Now, wherever the position of the comet is around the sun, the head is always towards the sun, but the tail is always pointing away from the sun. Comets orbit the sun, but amount of time it takes them to orbit the sun varies. Now, this we know that we have discussed now that the comets, they move around the sun, but how much time it will take to complete the orbit, how much time will it take to move around the sun, this varies. They are different. Halley's comet was the first comet whose return was predicted. Means Halley's comet, how much time would it take? It was predicted at that time. The comet gets close to Earth about every 76 years. Means the comets, it's close to the Earth every after 76 years. Most recently in 1986. In 1986, Halley's comet was closest to the Earth. The next time Halley's comet will be near Earth in 2061. Okay, now the next time, the last time Halley's comet was close to the sun, it was in 1986, and now it will be in 2061. Class, I stop it here. From page number 451, we will start tomorrow. That's all for today. Thank you so much.